Hello friends, and welcome to the Southern Mountain Kitchen. Today we're going to make easy cheese rolls. So what you see on my counter is what we're going to use to make these, and really there is not much of anything going into this, but the end result is something that tastes really great. It's filled with cheese, it's a great roll, but you really don't have to go to all that effort to make it. This is a fast and easy process where if you want to make this for dinner and you just want to knock it out really quickly, or even for lunch or whatever, this is what you're seeing right here is what we're going to use. Really, it's not much to it. There's very easy steps to making it, and in the end you get something that looks like you put a little bit more effort into it. So as you can see, we have some string cheese and some pizza crust, and we're going to work with this. We're going to start with this string cheese, which we have about 6 of these, and we're going to just open these up and get them ready to roll. Warning you right now, when I did this, I found that when you're opening string cheese, they are not all made the same, because some of these things don't want to open. Because the first couple I tried were pretty decently easy to open. It's just you have to play with them a little bit. But those little pull tabs, they don't work. And it's kind of a funky thing, because you think, wow, it's something so easy as a pull tab. You think they could get this right, but no. So anyway, whatever you got to do to get them open, I ended up having to use a knife to do it, but it is what it is. So while we're getting these ready here, we're going to preheat our ovens to 350 degrees, because this has to be in there for 20 to 25 minutes. And yes, you did see me put a knife through that thing, just try to get it open, because I swear this plastic, it had a death grip and it did not want to let go. And it's really kind of sad that you have to fight that much for some string cheese. But anyway, the reason we're using the string cheese is just because it is so much easier than taking mozzarella and having to press it together and do what we want to do with this. The string cheese is just a lump of cheese. It's really inexpensive and it works for you when you need it. So once we finally get these things completely open, we're going to cut each piece of the string cheese into 3 pieces. So that way when we go to put this inside of the dough, it's easier just to manage it, because you want something you can move around and actually stack it into what we're doing. So cut each one into 3, and then once we're done with this, we'll move on to the next step. But right here you're going to have all of the pieces you need to put inside. So we're going to take about a tablespoon of butter, and yes, I'm using real butter here. Melt it down, because it's going to go into our mix, because we have about 1/5 of a cup of olive oil. We're going to melt this tablespoon of butter, add it to it, and then we're going to add some seasonings to this, and we're going to end up using that to brush on top of the rolls later on when we get to that stage. So go ahead and melt down your butter, make sure it's all broken up, use a spoon if you have to, and then pour it into the olive oil, and then we're going to add seasonings. So just go ahead and make sure there are no lumps in this butter when you're doing what you're doing here. Now when we get to our seasonings, we have quite a few little things over here we're going to add to this. So we're going to start out by adding at least 1/3 of a teaspoon of Italian seasoning and 1/3 of a teaspoon of garlic powder, and then 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt and 1/4 of a teaspoon of pepper. And when we get this in, we're going to mix it up, because we really want to make sure this is all mixed throughout the butter and the oil. But like I said, we're going to brush this over top of the rolls, and this is going to give it flavor, but it's also going to help it to just have a coating on the outside of it. So, you know, sometimes when you bake bread, it dries out a little bit. Won't do it with this. This is going to actually be really good, and it's going to give it flavor. So you're going to need something to bake this in. I'm just using a regular cake pan, spraying it with some nonstick cooking spray. And then I'm going to set this to the side, because we're not going to need this for a minute, because we want to go ahead and cut up all of the dough and actually make the actual rolls before we put them in here. But it's important to have this ready in time before we actually get to that point. So once you have that set to the side, we're going to open up the can of pizza crust that we had. And yeah, it seems really weird to make rolls out of pizza crust, but believe it or not, you can use this for so many different things. But when you are opening it up, be careful of the can that you don't rip apart your dough, because it will stick to the inside, as I noticed when I opened mine up. Mind you, this was Walmart brand, so it is what it is. Go ahead and get this rolled out of that as best you can without tearing it up. And then once we've removed it from the can, we're actually going to spread this out and make a rectangle out of it. So just take it, find the part that's rolled in, and spread it out, because we want to actually just make this go as far as we can when we're doing this, because you're going to end up with about 8 of these rolls, so that's a good thing. So once it's spread out, you're gonna need a pizza cutter because we're gonna cut straight across the middle of it, and then we're gonna cut the other direction to where we actually cut this into all of the pieces that we need. And as you can see, when you do it like this, you end up with 8 of these. Now what you're gonna do from this is peel up a piece, take a couple pieces of the cheese, stick them in the middle of it, then wrap the edge around, and then pull it all to the bottom and twist it. And that's going to hold your cheese inside. We're going to do this for each one. Now mind you, if some of these are larger than others when you cut your pieces, that's perfectly fine. It just means the roll is going to be a little bit bigger. And just go ahead and add your pieces of cheese to the inside. And depending on how big your pieces of cheese are, you could maybe like put 2 to 3 in there. But just make sure you pull the sides down to the bottom and twist them so that way it holds the cheese inside. And we're just going to do this for each one of these. So during the time we're doing this, our oven is warming up because I said before 350 degrees for 20 to 25 minutes, and just keep working your way until you get through all of these. Now the good thing about these is they're going to bake up when they're in the pan. They're going to get larger than what you're seeing here, and they're basically loaded with cheese inside, and they have this amazing taste from not only the stuff that we're going to brush onto the top of them, but also from the cheese on the inside. It's such a great thing to do something this easy, this quickly, and have something that's a great addition to any meal. Like if you were making any kind of food from chicken to whatever, I mean, you basically have something really great to put with it. So once we get the last one of these rolled up, get the bottom twisted, we'll get ready to put these in a pan and brush the tops of them. So have our pan ready, go ahead and set them in. Best thing about it was already sprayed, it's already done. So we're going to space these out as we're putting them in. We don't want them right up against each other, but the good thing is there's room in the pan to actually space them out. And as I said, once they're in there, then we're going to brush the tops with the mix that we put together. So works really well if you have like a little cooking brush to use on this, because they do have the kind just for that, because I got mine from the dollar store. It's that cheap. And just go ahead and brush the tops of these. Make sure you get a good coating on there, because we're going to do this now, but when it comes back out of the oven, we're going to do it again just to give it a little added extra. So just make sure every one of these is brushed and good. And then after this, they're going to go in the oven, and after 20 minutes I'd check them just to see how they're doing, because I let mine get a little brown on top but not overly brown, because I didn't want these things getting really like too hot and the cheese coming out the bottom. But when they came back, they looked something like this, and you see how much they increased in size. So go ahead and brush them with some more of the mix that we had. And it's really kind of funny when you brush bread, when it comes out of the oven, it starts looking a little browner. That's kind of crazy. But anyway, so we're going to go ahead and brush all of these, and then we're going to let them cool for a while before we do anything else with them, because we want to make sure you can handle these and do whatever, because right now that cheese inside is really hot, so we really don't want to be handling it too much at the moment. And then after this, I'm going to move some over to a plate so you can actually see these a little bit closer. But best thing is let them cool for about 10 minutes. And then when I move mine to the plate, I want you to see the cheese inside of this, which is really a cool thing, because when you pull this apart, you're going to get stringy cheese, and that is amazing, and it's such a great thing to eat. It has such a great taste. I think you just might like this one. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please like and subscribe. And if you get a chance, check out the Southern Mountain Kitchen website, where you can get a free recipe, check out the cookbooks available from the Southern Mountain Kitchen, and if you'd like to, you could order a cookbook at a discounted price, cheaper than Amazon, with shipping that is also cheaper than Amazon. So if you get a chance, check it out, and I hope you have a great day.